Entrepreneurship business contracts. Business contracts. A contract is an understanding between two or more persons to perform an agreed transaction, basing on agreed terms and conditions, or is an agreement or a promise made between two parties which is legally binding or enforceable by law, whereby each party agrees to take part in the contract as stipulated. Types of contracts. 1. Oral contracts. These are contracts in which parties agree to deal with each other without writing down anything. 2. Written contracts. These are contracts written and signed by both parties and also witnessed by a third party. Examples of written contracts may include sales agreements, service provision agreements, appointment letters, etc. 3. Unilateral. These are contracts in which only one party is bound, e.g., in cases where a person offers to reward anyone who will recover his or her lost property. 4. Bilateral contract. These are contracts in which both parties are bound with contractual obligations which they must fulfill, e.g., where the seller agrees to sell his or her commodity and the buyer agrees to buy it at an agreed price and agrees to complete payment in an agreed period of time. 5. Contract of records. This is a contract that consists of court judgment formed by entry on the court records, and the rights and obligations of the parties are put on court records. 6. Executed contracts. These are contracts when both parties to the contract have completely performed their share of the contractual obligations and nothing remains to be done by either parties. Elements/essentials/requirements for a valid contract. A contract will only be valid if its content satisfies all the relevant requirements of a valid contract prescribed by law. The essentials or elements of valid contracts include 1. Offer and acceptance. This means that the two parties must lawfully come to acceptance, leading to a valid contract. Offer refers to the terms and conditions set by one party to the contract to the other as being his or her dealing position, while acceptance is the agreeing to the terms and conditions set by the other party to whom the offer was made. 2. Lawful consideration/price. Consideration is a price agreed upon by the parties to the contract and paid by one party for the benefit received or the promise of the other party. A valid contract must have a price, i.e., both parties must pay something for something in monetary terms. Entrepreneurship business contracts. 5. Certainty. The terms of a contract must be clear and understandable for a contract to be valid. 6. Free consent. For a contract to be valid, it must be entered into freely and voluntarily. Therefore, there must be no undue influence in making the contract. 7. Legality and lawful object. A contract will only be valid if the law provides that such agreements are legal. The purpose of the agreement must be legal and not centrally to the law and public policy. 8. Possibility of performance. A contract must be capable of performance to be raised and enforceable by law. In case the contract is impossible in itself, either physical or legally, then it is not legal. Ways of terminating the contract or discharge of a contract, or termination of a contract. A contract can be discharged by 1. Performance. If the contract is fulfilled as per the agreed terms and conditions, that is, a contract is discharged when each party to it has performed to the full satisfaction of the other in accordance with the agreed terms and conditions. 2. The agreement. If parties concerned agree to discharge it, then can equally bring it to an end in the same manner. 3. Frustration. If one of the parties fails to meet its obligations, a contract is discharged due to frustration, e.g., if the subject matter is destroyed or in case of death or incapability of one of the parties. 4. Breach. If either of the parties to the contract fails or refuses to perform according to the agreed terms and conditions of the contract, then he or she has breached the contract. 5. By expiry/lapse of time. When the time for which the contract is meant to run expires. 6. Operation of the law. If there is lapse of time, death, substitutions, or bankruptcy of one or both of the concerned parties. It can also be terminated by courts of law under the following cases. In case of bankruptcy of one party, if the contract is declared illegal. In case one of the parties to the contract is a minor. In case of substitutions, i.e., when a new contract has replaced the old one. Under what circumstances contracts may be terminated. 1. When the parties agree to terminate it. 2. When it is frustrated by the parties. 3. When one party breaches it. 4. When the contract is fulfilled as per the agreed terms and conditions. 5. If there is death, lapse of time, or bankruptcy of one of the parties. Importance of making contracts. It creates a good working relationship between the parties. They reduce losses in business, encourages hard work. It enables enterprises to get ready supply of input/stock. Entrepreneurship business contracts. It makes the parties involved responsible. It ensures a reliable market for the business products. Teaches people to be trustworthy in business. Sources of revenue to the government, i.e., those which involve cash. Revision questions. A distinguish between offer and acceptance is used in contracts.